Hello, everybody. Just getting everything signed on. Making sure I have the right orientation. I think I was a minute or two late of getting on. Of course, my phone went into rest mode, and then I had to go back to the right spot on Facebook because once it went into rest mode, it went away from the Krafty Gimme group. So I'll just wait a minute to see if anybody pops on. Oh, and I don't tip over my whole camera. Whoopsie. I think everything looks good. Okay. All right, I see one eyeball, so that's good. And if there is anybody else that pops on, just let me know if my voice is loud enough. That's always the hardest part, is you can't hear yourself, so you're not really sure if everything is good. Hello, Melanie. Hi, Michelle. It always takes a bit to find the videos, doesn't it? Seems like these days the notifications don't pop up like we want them to. Just getting everything set. I'm gonna go a little bit lower. Then I'll just start talking here. Oh, good, Michelle, thank you. Awesome. I think that's a bit better. Then you don't see as much of me and a little bit more of the projects. Okay, so I am going to get started because, you know, for some it's late afternoon, some it's mid-afternoon, depending on what part of the country or world you're in. So I know that there might be people that are out working still or enjoying the weather. So I'll talk a little bit about my project today and what we're doing and just get going. And then if you're watching on replay, make sure to leave a comment and say hello. So I'm happy to be here for another Throwback Thursday. It's always so much fun to pull out some of these stamps and remind us what's still available in the shop. Today I am going to be using the Royal Family and the Royal Sentiments stamp sets. Hi, Tamara. And so this is just adorable. I love the whimsical nature of this set. Very fairy tale, very fantasy. I'm definitely a fan of like that type of genre. So this stamp set is just one that I really love. And I know there's a bit of a glare with my light when we have the plastic, but maybe it'll be better if I take it out. Let's see. It's always so hard. Yeah. So I think you can see it a little bit better there if I just kind of move it around. So there's the cute little, like, I don't know, king, princes, characters, the princess. I like to think this one is maybe like a bit of a sorceress. There's the horse and buggy and the bridge, which is so awesome. And then in the Royal Sentiments, there's all types of mix and match types of things that you can do to make some different sayings. So there's things like my sweet little, and then you could have princess, my sweet little prince, my sweet little knight, you are my Prince Charming, all kinds of neat mix and matches, which I just love. So I thought for today, I wanted to keep it pretty simple. I think sometimes when we sit down to make things, and we always think we have to make it very complicated. So I'm gonna just kind of keep it on the simple side. And I thought a lot of people I know online are planning weddings. Well, I should clarify. Students, past students of mine, are all posting that they're getting married. So I was in the wedding mood and thought we would make something that would be good for a wedding or an anniversary card today. Just to give you the versatility so that when you have a set like this, you don't always think it has to fit the theme that you think it might belong to. So just because this seems very fairy tale or fantasy-like, it doesn't have to be a fairy tale or fantasy card. So I'm just going to talk about the things that you'll need if you're going to play along. I have done some pre-cutting just to make it go easier for the demo today. But you are going to need an A2 base. That's what I'm making it on, and I'm actually going to do a landscape card today. So just your standard A2. So cut your paper at 5.5 by 8.5, and then score at 4 1/4 to get your A2 base. And then I have used just a bit of black, white, and a pattern paper. So the pattern paper piece that I've cut is 4 by 5 1/4. And so that when we go to build our card, that is just going to layer on and leave the little white border on our base. So that is the dimensions for that. So again, 4 by 5 1/4, any pattern you want. I thought this had kind of like a nice, like, fit the fantasy-ish vibe, like maybe Sleeping Beauty out in the woods or something like that. And then there is a black piece that I'm going to use that is 3.5 by 4 3/4. This is just going to be used for a very, very thin mat. And then I have a white piece that is 3 3/8 by 4 5/8. And I have actually put it through an embossing plate that I had that poked some holes and left a little hatch mark pattern in it. So I'll just pull that up, maybe you can see. So of course this would be optional. This could be completely white. You could make this a colored piece if you'd like. This one was a plate that did poke the little holes. I have another one I was going to use that had hearts, but it was for a portrait, like portrait orientation. And so it didn't quite work for what I was going for on this one. But this is just another simple way to, you know, keep your card from being too complicated, yet adding a really nice touch. And I've been trying to remind myself to use some of those embossing folders that I have. Right? Regal colors would be so good, Michelle. I thought, like, with the teals and greens, some purples would look so glorious, wouldn't they? So those are the pieces that we're going to need. And then if you have, depending on what you're cutting from, I used another little piece that I got ready to use for my sentiment, but I'm not going to give the dimensions of this because I always find that I do my sentiment matting after I cut my sentiment because I'm never consistent with how big my sentiment ends up being. So I find it easier to stamp my sentiment and then do any matting after. So because I have got that prepared, I was able to do that. But just to give you an idea of what we're going for, I have the little sentiment. I matted it with a very thin black and then used a bit of the same pattern paper. So today I'm going to use the sentiment to love, laughter, and happily ever after, just because I thought that felt like a wedding type of saying. I really liked this one too. Once in a while, in the middle of an ordinary life, love gives us a fairy tale. And I thought that one would be good for like a wedding, or that one could be great for an anniversary. Just so versatile, this set. Even this set alone, if you didn't have any images, I bet you could pair with so much cool paper, because we always need sentiments. And then today I'm going to use the little horse-drawn carriage, which I thought was adorable. So that's what we're going to use today, and we're going to color it up, and then we'll piece together our card. So I'll leave the dimensions of my card hopefully in screen. Try and pull it down a little bit just so I can kind of maybe leave it there for people. If they come on late, they can see the dimensions, and we'll get coloring. Now I'm going to use alcohol markers today. I use a lot of different types of coloring mediums. Some of you who've seen some of my other lives or follow some of my other stuff probably do know that. But what do some of you guys like to color with? Like, what's your go-to? Do you have a go-to? I'm just going to zoom in a little bit here. Oh, that zoomed in nicely. Excellent. Okay, so I have stamped my image in the Krafty Kimmy Wicked Black. I love it because it's so good for all the different mediums, whether it's watercolor or whether it's alcohol markers. And it's like one of the inks I do have a re-inker for, because I'm notorious for not buying re-inkers. Yeah, Melanie, me too, right? Depends on the project. Oops, sorry, move that off. So I'm going to use my Spectrum Noir markers today. I zoomed it in so much that now it's like kind of awkward to show my stuff. But I've just kept some basic colors. So I have a few different tones of brown that I'm going to use for the horse, and some gray for the hooves. For the little, I don't know, is this a footman if they're driving, or is a footman if they're opening the door? But I'm going to call them our little footmen. I've got some gold that I'm going to do the hat and the pants in. And I thought I'd do the tunic in red. And I'm going to do the carriage in some teals, which I thought would be kind of fun and whimsical. So I think we'll start with the horse. I've got some earth brown colors. So just let me know if that zoomed in too much. I'll watch the screen. Like, I don't want it to be doing that zoom in and out thing. And I'm going to pick some earth brown shades. So I have 2 earth brown shades. So I'm going to pick the lighter ones to do the horse, and then the darker ones to do the horse's mane. So I'm just going to come in and maybe do a bit of the outside here and down by the hooves. Maybe a little bit in the mane and along the back. Hi, Kim. Okay, then I'm going to take my medium brown and just go over what I already did. I really like these Spectrum Noirs just because I've decided, the more I color, that I love the nib tip, I think, better than I like the brush tip. I just have better control, but I don't know if I feel committed enough to change all my Copics over to have a nib. So those are still brush tips when I use those, but mostly I've been using the Copics to kind of fill in colors that I'm missing. I've had the Spectrum Noirs for quite a long time now. They aren't refillable, these ones, but so far so good for the amount of coloring I do. Now that I'm doing more here for Krafty Kimmy, we'll see if I end up finally wearing any out. So I'm just going back over what I've already colored, just lightly on the edge to kind of blend the ink, and leaving sort of the middle area, which then I'll just go over with one color. Oh, it's always a busy day, Kim, right? Like whenever there's something going on, then 20 things are going on. That's usually my life. Like I came back from holidays and I suddenly have like all this crafty kind of work and stuff that needs to be done all at once. But it's fun then. Keeps me on track because then I don't have to think about what I want to work on. I know it's probably lame to talk about the weather, but just curious what the weather's been doing where everyone is. I just got home from the West Coast and we had gorgeous weather, but somebody else I know is there now and I think maybe it's been a bit rainier. Okay, I'm gonna go back in and do the horse's face. Try and keep the dark maybe to a minimum. Oh, a root canal. I can say I'm fortunate that I've never had to have that, but I kind of hope I never do, but I'm sure it will happen eventually, but then I guess you've been helping out. There we go. Keep it super simple. Those of you who followed me before know that I don't like my coloring to be complicated. I just want it to look nice. Okay, I guess I need to do the ear. Maybe I'll just use the middle one around the outside, and then I'll just put the lightest on the inside. Doesn't really look that different though, so maybe I'll just add a couple dabs of the dark. There, I think that's good. Okay, then I'm going to take my darker one for the mane, and I'm just going to lightly tap, like barely align with my dark one around the outside and on some of these lines. I was worried that this stamp was going to feel hard to color, but it's really not. It's lovely. Just because sometimes when there's some finer details, like the reins, it can feel a bit daunting to color some of those spots. Hi, Ellie. How are you today? When I have to get into the small spots, that's where I do really like the nibs. There. I'm just going to take my dark and kind of come back in a little bit. Come in with my lightest from my other set. You can maybe get a little bit more lightness. In some of those areas. There we go. So it's our cute little regal horse. So for anybody watching today, the set Royal Family is on half price right now. So if you are liking the vibe, you should go check that out in the shop. Thanks for sharing the link, Kim. That's awesome. Okay. So with the reins, I'm going to do those last. I really contemplated what I was going to do since it was such a fine line. I didn't know if I wanted to use like a brown, but I thought it would get lost. So I was originally just going to color it in with a black marker, but I did get out my black sparkle gel pen. So at the very end, I think I will do the reins with that because it'll add a little fairy tale pizzazz, which will be great. I'm just gonna sit down on my table. I always start standing and then forget that I can sit down. Just make sure that you guys can still hear me. So let me know if you cannot. So with our little footmen, I am going to do some red on the tunic. I think I'll just use my medium and light because it's such a small little space. The horse is, oh, I just saw your comment, Kim. Yeah, the horse is my fave. This one just like really makes me think, I don't know, that I'm gonna get picked up to go to the ball, right? That we all want to go to and meet our Prince Charming. If Prince Charmings are your thing, maybe you're more of a woodsman kind of person. Maybe you're a princess kind of person. There we go. Just go in a little bit with my darker, just to add in a little bit of variation. I actually find, I know lots of people have trouble with the little areas, but I feel way more confident doing a little area like the tunic than I do even the horse. Like, I never know how the shading is going to come out. And it's always strange on camera too, because like even looking at my other screen, the horse looks way darker on my computer screen than it does in real life. Is anybody here, like, do you guys like watching fantasy or reading fantasy or romantasy? That's so popular right now. I know I have like go through phases where I'll read lots of that and then choose something else. Okay, then I'm gonna come in with a gold, a golden yellow to do the hat and trousers. I know, Kim, it has all the characters. I was showing everybody at the beginning how perfect it was, that it had like the one like royal with the cape and the princess or queen, and then like the one kneeling, which I thought is adorable, and then I kind of thought maybe like a sorceress or something. With me, mine zoomed in, so you gotta like move it all, the glare. But it's so cute. The one thing I haven't done with this one is I haven't really used the drawbridge, or like the brick archway over the river. I gotta figure out how to do that. I'm not always good with building scenes. The enchanted greenhouse. Ooh, a cozy fantasy. I just bought, when I was in Portland at Powell's, because I mean I had to buy something at Powell's bookstore. I'd been seeing online, what is it called? The Dragon, Baby Dragon Cafe or something like that. It sounded adorable. Like this cute, like little gal owns, instead of like a cat cafe, it's a baby dragon cafe. So again, it's just a cozy little, I guess, fantasy, cozy fantasy. I'm excited to read it. I think it's going to be really fun. How is that enchanted greenhouse one? That's one I've not heard of. There's so many books, too many books, not enough time, because then I always hear about something fun that somebody's reading and then I want to read it too. And then I get distracted from what I'm already reading. A true bookworm, I guess. You have used the bridge, Ellie. Did you build a scene? Like, did you put then the characters on it, or did you just use it separately? I think I'm just going to come to keep it simple. I'm just going to use the light brown that I used for the horse, just to add in the hair. Okay. Cute. Oh my gosh, so adorable. Okay, then let's see. I'm going to take my brown gray and I'll just do the hooves and his little boots. Just with my dark, and then I'm just dabbing in with my medium. It's probably very excessive to use 3 colors than my light, but there we go. And just come back in and add the dark along the base there. You did a scene with water. So then just used the bridge. That's awesome. Yeah, that's probably a good way to start using that one. Is just as its own thing. Oh my gosh. Sentient plants and everything. I love books like that, Kim, like that are standalones but have little connections. Those are my favorite. Where like a character will pop up in one book and then you get their story in the next. Some of my faves. Because then you don't have to feel committed to the whole series necessarily, which can feel daunting. But if you want to, then you can. Okay, so for the carriage, I'm going to use some jade green. And so I have like my tri-blend, and then I also pulled out my Cool Shadow Copic. I don't know where to put it when I'm zoomed in so far. Ooh, when I tip it over. So it's BG10. It didn't really focus very good. But I'm going to use that just to add a little outline around the wheels, because then I am going to add some sparkle to the carriage to make it a little more magical. So let's see. I'm gonna add my darkest bits just here at the end. Maybe I'll keep it more dark at the bottom. And I'll do an ombre up the carriage. Let's try that. I could have made a sample ahead of time, but you guys are probably learning that that's not how I roll. I tend to like plan it out, think it through in my head, get it all set up, and then make it. Because it's only paper, so if something really doesn't work out, the world is not going to crash down. And I'm not very good at committing to the idea of like a sloppy copy and then doing a card again. I've just learned in my life, I don't go back and do it again. So if I take my time, then I would say 99% of the time, I end up with something that I'm satisfied with. I'm gonna go back and do the door separate. Okay, I've seen the spell shop, and then I should have known when you commented on the name of the author. I thought that author sounded familiar. Okay, I've seen that spell shop too. I guess I didn't realize that there was more, because I felt like the spell shop was fairly new. Okay, then I'm going to come, just do one layer along the top. Oops, kind of going outside the lines there a little bit, but that's okay. Just going to turn it upside down. Go. Okay, Tamara, it is funny that you said that, because I always think I am going to read so much in the summer. I plan out all these books that I'm waiting for school to be done. And I'm like, oh, I can't wait to read, can't wait to read. And I think I finished one book this summer, which, I mean, normally I would read more than that at least, but I don't know. It's not that I'm not liking the books. I guess I've been busy traveling, and like, I can't believe that I get more read when I'm busy with like school and everything else. And I don't know, like, I am a mood reader. So then sometimes I do wonder, like, even though I am liking the books, maybe I'm just not in the mood for that one. I don't know. Just coming back to do a second layer on the door because I wanted it to be kind of like the carriage, but a shade darker. So I find if you go over, kind of repeat the process, it gets darker. I think there's a lot of people who actually do color like that, where they'll kind of do it twice, but I don't do it a lot. Do my outline. And even like my journal that I've done the last couple years for reading, like I've hardly touched it. And now I'm thinking it's August, like what are we at, the 8th month? Like, is it even worth going back and keeping track like I have? At this point I might as well wait and just skip a year. It's just so funny how that goes. I don't think I'm ready for sweater weather either. Well, you're ready for sweater weather, but I don't know if I am, because I just want more warm weather and sun and summer days. But once it gets here, I'm always happy for the pumpkin spice latte and sweaters. Now, I'm not really sure. I think it's just like, this is the little floor area, and then the little seat. And then I think it's like, you can see through it, I think. I don't know. I'm not really sure if this is part of the carriage. That is the one thing about images sometimes. Oh no, you lost an earring? Well, I doubt you're lopsided, but that is sad about the earring. Okay, I might need your guys' opinions on whether or not you think this is a see-through and this is still part of the bench, or whether you think this is part of the carriage, and what I should do to finish coloring. Because I am not sure I know. And what do you think I should do here? Should I color it like it's a completely closed-in door? Should I pretend it's see-through and just like shade it a little bit gray because maybe it's the inside and shadows? You guys tell me. Help me out. I'll do his face. Will you guys help me decide? Yeah, maybe it is all, right? It kind of juts out, and that's how the C is attached. I haven't been around a lot of fairy tale carriages myself. I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna pretend it's part of the seat. I like that thought. And then just the little space underneath where his feet are resting. Yeah, that's my thought too. I think I'm gonna use the gray. I'm gonna use this one. Oh yes, good call, Kim. That looks super cute. Okay, and then I'm just gonna take my light BG10 and I'm just gonna go around the outside. Very loose on the wheels. There we go. Oh my gosh. Yay! No longer lopsided. And earring found. That seems like a double celebration. Because I just had this whole picture in my mind, these whole last few minutes. Actually, Tamara, be like walking around with your head tipped over just because. It was making me giggle. I am glad you found it though. There's always like that panic when you lose something. And I mean, yeah, it's only stuff, but sometimes then you're like, it's your favorite or... Okay, so I'm going to... Oh, I fell asleep. I'm going to do the reins with the black sparkle, and then I'm just going to set it kind of to dry before I cut it out, the image, and we'll build the card base and get it ready. So if anybody popped on late, I'm just letting you know that I am using a black sparkle gel pen. Because it's easier to get in, and the little sparkle makes everything better. Oh my gosh. You can even see it on the screen. It feels like it, yes. I think you can kind of see it like shimmering there a little bit. I love that. I think I'm gonna add just a dash of that same sparkle on the door handle. That seems like a good life choice. And I also know that I did not do his rope, so I'm just gonna use the dark kind of goldy brown to do the little rope tying his tunic closed. Okay, so I'm just gonna set that aside just to make sure that the black dries, and then we'll cut it out and we're gonna add some sparkle. So I'm going to attempt to zoom back out a bit. So I can leave that. Let's see how the zooming out goes. I think I can zoom out even some more. There we go. You can tell I got coloring though, because my whole thing got tipped. Hopefully the crookedness doesn't drive you guys all crazy. So for our card, I am going to start by gluing on my pattern paper. Excuse my reach in front of the camera. Just grabbing my pin. I've been away on holidays for the last couple weeks, so haven't really been using my glues and things. It's probably a bit excessive. Just gonna open up my card so I can see better. So again, I've cut this piece just 1/4 of an inch smaller on the sides so that I can get that border around it, the 8-inch border. Oh my gosh, I feel like that's crooked. Maybe it is. Don't mind me. It's gonna drive me crazy if it's crooked. Let's try that again. Usually I do open up my card bases, but my card base might have got cut a bit crooked. So I'm gonna line it up to the edge there, and then I can trim my one edge if I have to. My goodness. There we go. That looks better. I do find that's the hardest thing about lives, is that I feel like just getting over top of it, and then the camera, like I don't want to bonk it with my head, and the light, like your camera makes it a bit shadowy, and yeah, the joys. So you guys get to see the process. Okay. Then I'm gonna add my 3.5 by 4 3/4 black. You could definitely, I think, raise this piece if you wanted to. I'm going to end up raising the carriage, and kind of wanted to keep it that if I had to mail the card, it wasn't getting too like bulky. But if I knew I was going to give this card like take it directly to a wedding, for example, I think I would probably raise this piece and my carriage, kind of for some double madness. I know, thank goodness, Kim. I don't have to pull things up a lot, but I actually don't always like the art glitter glue for that reason. Like, I like my green mono better because I find the art glitter glue like dries so fast. Like, if you realize you're crooked, you better get that pulled up really, really quick. Whereas with my mono glue, it slides around a bit more. But it's just getting more expensive to buy, I find, the green capped mono glue. Whereas the art glitter, I can get the refills. I do have a Barely art glue that I keep meaning to try because lots of people say they really like that as well. So I might have to give that a go. Okay, so then I'm going to put on my little embossed textured piece. I'm going to be a little careful with the glue, but it doesn't squish out the holes. So I just made this piece 1/8 of an inch smaller so that the border is really skinny, so that it's just that really, really thin mat of black. I've been doing that a lot more lately. So that's what I was saying at the very beginning, for those of you that were on, that I wanted to keep the design really simple today because so many times we overcomplicate it. And yet, like, okay, just a little simple black mat. And now, even though it's just patterned paper, it just gives it that little extra. And you didn't really have to do anything. And then the little extra embossing just adds a nice little detail. But the cutting was fast. The gluing and putting it together is fast. So that's what I really, really like. That would be awesome, Kim. I would love that because I will honestly say that, like, the green, for anybody who doesn't know what I'm talking about, the like green lid Tombow mono glue, like, it is still my ultimate fave glue. It comes out nice. It dries excellent. There's a bit of wiggle room. If you let it dry separately, it also is like temporary. So sometimes there's a few companies that still have like red rubber, and if you still have any of the Krafty and Kimmy red rubber in your stash and you need it to cling to something, you can put this on the back of those stamps, set them aside to dry, and then they're like temporarily removable, so then they'll stick to like your blocks. And I know I still have some Krafty and Kimmy red stamps in my stash. Well, gray stamps, but we always know when we say red rubber, we know what we're talking about. But the Krafty and Kimmy ones were gray. That shows how old I am and how long I've been around. Right, Kim? Okay, so let's cut up our image. Now you guys get to all watch me fussy cut. And then we're going to add some sparkle because sparkle makes everything better. Well, Melanie likes that glue too, hey? Yeah, I would love if you have an in, then I'll just like buy a supply. And then the key is always to get it sent and mailed before cold weather comes. That's one thing I've heard about the Barely art glue. Somebody was saying that it's okay to ship in the winter, but I don't know. That still makes me nervous, shipping any type of liquid glue, glitter, anything. Inks even, like, I just think our cold weather can't be good for stuff. I always get so quiet when I fussy cut because I'm concentrating. Anybody else like that? I talk about this every time, but I love Krafty Kimmy stamps because even though the images have details and are awesome and adorable, they are easy to fussy cut. Like, I don't find that I ever have problems without dies, and I know some people use their machines, but I just love it. I know fussy cutting is not always everybody's favorite. And when I cut these images, a lot of times I'll do the basic areas, and then if there's anywhere else that's a little bit more detailed that I think I need to cut out from, I'll go back. So once I get this out, I'll look if there's any spots. That last cut around the wheel was maybe not as smooth as I could have been. Might have been a little bumpy lumpy, but go back and fix it. There we go. So let's see. I don't want it to break away, so I might just come in a little bit. And when I have a really detailed area, I'll come in on one side and then I'll go back from the other side and join it to that point and then just pull it away. And I think I might go a little bit up in between these two legs, and so then same thing. Now we'll go from the other side and get the pieces to join up. And then just pull it away. You can use tweezers if you need to get in there, but I find generally my nails are okay. Or just take your paper piercer. Probably didn't quite get that. There we go. It's being stubborn, this one piece. It's because I decided to do it, right? There we go. Adorable. And I think I might go just a tiny bit, like a sliver, down into here. Okay. You get quiet too, Ellie. Yeah. You love the Barely Art, Melanie. Okay. Yeah, there's lots that do, so that's awesome. I am gonna try that then, because this one is almost empty. So my art glitter. And I used up the last of my refills, so then I might as well use up what I have, right? Okay, so then what I am going to do is I'm going to get some pop dots here. And then I'm going to put this on my card. Now, the sentiment, again, that I picked from the Royal Sentiments is to love, laughter, and happily ever after. So what I did is I just stamped it onto the edge of my paper. Like, I put my square piece of paper in, put the stamp down, and then I just trimmed my rectangle. Sometimes that makes me say choice words, because I'll end up getting it crooked when I cut it. So sometimes it can be easier to estimate your space, cut the piece, and then put your stamp on so it's straight. But this one I just stamped and cut after, and then I glued it to the two edges of my black cardstock so that they were even, and then I just had to trim the thin sides on the two others. And then I did the same thing where I layered it onto a piece of my pattern, again on an already rectangle piece. So I kind of roughly put it down so I could see how much space I wanted for a mat. I put a little pencil mark, and then I just used my trimmer to cut. A lot of times I would probably glue this on and then cut, but I wanted to show everybody what I did. So this one I am just gonna glue onto my little pattern, and then we'll put some glitter on and get it stuck on. The sentiment set is also 50% off. Hooray! Kim's put the links for both sets in the chat. And then you can also go to Krafty, the online shop, craftingkimmystamps.com just in general, and browse all of the goodies that are there. Okay, so I don't know how many of you guys are glitterers. Sometimes I will use glitter pens, all kinds of things, Wink Stella. I'm going to use some of the really fine Lawn Fawn glitter today and a quickie glue pen. And I'm going to put my quickie glue pen, once I get it going here. I know this one is almost out of glue, so I probably should have tested it before, but I do have one on reserve if I need it. Can't see. Oh, it might be okay. There it comes. You do have to use these glue pens like fairly regularly or they will clog up, so I try to glitter, but they are my fave. Because they're little and you just trace around like legitimately a pen. And then there's this little cap and you can just scoop. Some people like to put their glitter like in a bigger tub. Like I know Jen Shirkus does that. I don't have enough glitter to do that, so I just go careful. And then I just tap it back into the jar. And now my wheels are sparkly. Because everything needs a little glitter, especially if you're in a fairy tale. Exactly, Kim. What's a fairy tale without sparkle? Sorry, I got a little quiet there. Sometimes I have to remember that I'm talking in to something, so that like the people are not right in front of me. Because I feel like you guys could be just sitting here crafting with me. So cute. Do I want any glitter anywhere else? Well, the reins have glitter, the wheels have glitter. I was thinking that those little swirls, I think the swirls need glitter. But I know if you put the glitter in like a bit of a bigger container, you can then just like scoop your project into it, and then you don't lose as much. Oh yeah. Yes, I definitely made a bit more of a mess than I might normally, but I'm also not usually trying to do this over a camera, so I have a whole new appreciation for people who do classes all the time and use glitter. and scoop up a little bit that I spilled. And pinch it back in. Glitter dust spray. That sounds fancy, Tamara. Great minds do think alike, Kim. Oh, have a good dinner, Ellie. I hope you're making something amazing. We're almost done, so you will only have to come back and see a little bit. There we go. Vacuum up with my little mbop fella there. And we are good to go. And a little sparkle residue just makes me happy if there is some left over on my desk. Okay, I'll just lift this up so you guys can see. And I hope that the glitter shows. Yeah, you can kind of see it sparkling there. Love it. Okay. So then I thought, just for finishing off, I'll kind of get it placed here. My thought was that I would keep it a little bit lower and then use the sentiment as a way to sort of ground the image a little bit. So again, just kind of center it on. Keep it really simple. So I'm going to stick my sentiment on. So I will tell you guys my funny story too. I had bought one of the big rolls, but it's so much stickier than just peeling. And I was having trouble getting the back off, and it was sticking everywhere. And I was like, oh my gosh, these little packs might be more expensive and not as economical as the bigger roll, but the roll was driving me crazy. Okay, if my head gets in, please don't mind me. But after my last little paper not being straight fiasco, I want to make sure this is straight. Okay. There we go. Now, some of my glitter might come up a little bit again, but that's okay. So I'm going to put 2 bigger ones there. I think I can get one bigger one on the body of the horse. There we go. And then I'll just put in a few smaller ones to make sure nothing caves in on us. On my head. I think this fella needs support. And then I have a couple half ones that I've cut. So I'll just put one down there. And maybe one by the tail. Don't know if I always use so much, but I want to make sure that these little edges don't, you know, get bent up when you give it to somebody. So I'll use little extras. Anybody got any more plans for their evening? I'm gonna have a date with my TV to watch Big Brother. See what kind of crazy shenanigans will happen on eviction night tonight. Just going to pull it down so I can lean over again. just going to lightly put it down so that I can kind of lift it up and make sure I'm happy with the placement. I feel like I want to move it just back, just like the tiniest bit. There we go. I think that's good. So now I'll push the carriage in place. Make sure the horse is how I want him. I think so. Push him in place. Yes, I watch Big Brother. Mom and I, well, I'm way more committed. Mom likes it, but if she misses episodes, she doesn't like worry about it. Then she'll just ask me to fill her in or watch the recap. And sometimes it makes her uncomfortable when they get like really kind of nattery, or, you know, some seasons are a little bit more bullyish than others. I love it. I'm here for it. I feel like I really like this season's cast. So yes, of course, I won't say anything because you have some episodes to catch up on, but yeah, just in general, they're like a little bit of crazy, but then they sort of mellow themselves out and sort through their problems. I appreciate all the diverse characters and personalities. Okay. So there is our cute little card. Gosh, every time I seem to think that my live is going to go much faster and simpler. Like, here we are, an hour and 9 minutes, and we didn't even do anything fancy. But that is okay, because that is crafting and that is fun. But I always think I'm not going to take up so much of your guys' time, and then look at, we just have fun when we're having fun. The time goes by quickly. So there is our card, and I don't, like, my lighting is, I don't know if I do that, if it shows it a bit more, but I love it. So again, this was the Royal Family, Royal Sentiments. They are half price in the shop. There is lots of fun stuff happening right now in the Krafty and Kimmy group. There are our August challenges that are up, so you can check that out. It is to use like children, kind of like birthday, way to go, or, oh my gosh, that's the one I did. Is it 3 colors, Kim? Is that the other one? I should know this, but because I didn't look ahead to the mid one carefully enough ahead of time. And there is going to be a recap of the latest release that's coming up this weekend. So there'll be some new projects posted. You guys should check it out. There are some really adorable stamps that were in the latest release. Cutest little chunky gophers and some lighted up lightning bugs and like glowworms. Amazing. So come check out the Krafty and Kimmy Facebook group, see what's going on, go check out the shop. There's so much fun stuff, so many cute things to keep your crafting going. And it was awesome spending a little bit of my afternoon with everybody. So I hope everybody has a great evening and the rest of their afternoon, heading into the weekend. So hopefully you can soak up a little bit more of this summer that we have left. And I will post, take some pictures and post in the group, and the video will get uploaded to the Krafty and Kimmy YouTube channel, probably later tonight or tomorrow morning. So then you can go and catch the replay there as well. And if you haven't subscribed, go subscribe to the Krafty and Kimmy YouTube channel. There is so much good inspiration there as well, and so many of the videos have been being moved over with the Facebook changes to videos. So again, yeah, I'm terrible at saying goodbye, so I'm just going to say so long, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.